All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're putting on our detective hats, cellular detectives to be exact, and we're going to investigate a truly fascinating defense strategy against our body's absolute worst microscopic villains. We're looking at exactly how our own cellular structures and metabolic engines can be leveraged to fight back. Let's kick things off with a pretty staggering statistic: 90%. You know, metastasis, which is that aggressive spread of cancer cells from a primary tumor to other organs and tissues, is responsible for a whopping 90% of all cancer deaths. The localized tumor itself, it's rarely the fatal blow. It's the invasion, the spreading, the absolute breach of our internal borders that makes this disease so incredibly dangerous. So that begs a pretty massive question. What if we could build a microscopic wall to just stop it? What if, instead of only focusing on chemical warfare to destroy the enemy, we actually focused on architectural reinforcement? This is the core concept of a structural defense against metastasis, and it's exactly the mystery we're decoding today.
Section 1. The threat of metastasis. Unmasking the cellular villain.
Here's the thing about metastasis. It totally relies on invading our collagen layers. Cancer cells don't just, passively float away. They aggressively navigate through the body by literally degrading the collagen layers that are meant to keep our cellular structure intact. They secrete these enzymes that act like microscopic machetes, just chopping right through the connective tissue so the cancer can migrate and set up shop somewhere else.
Section 2. The Rath Protocol Explained. The Blueprint for Defense.
This brings us to the Rath-Pauling protocol, developed by two brilliant minds, Dr. Linus Pauling and Dr. Matthias Rath. And I really want you to grasp this fundamentally. This is a structural approach to stopping cancer, not a chemical one. The goal here isn't necessarily to poison the cancer cell directly. Instead, it's to fortify the body's connective tissues so heavily that the cancer cell is physically trapped. It literally can't metastasize. Okay, so what's the actual recipe here? Well, these specific synergistic components are your critical biochemical building blocks for synthesizing really strong, healthy collagen. We've got vitamin C, specifically in its lipid-soluble form ascorbyl palmitate, which helps eliminate abnormal cells while protecting the normal ones. Then we add in the amino acids L-lysine and L-proline. And finally, EGCG, which is a super powerful polyphenol extract you get from green tea. Working together, they give the body exactly what it needs to basically pour concrete over the cancer's escape routes.
Section 3. Building the collagen fortress, reinforcing the cellular walls.
Let's actually walk through the mechanism of action here, step by step. First, these targeted nutrients enter your system. Once they're in, they don't just float around aimlessly. They act as a sort of biochemical mortar, actively synthesizing high-quality collagen. This massively fortifies your connective tissues and ultimately blocks the cancer cell invasion right in its tracks. In fact, studies on this exact nutrient combo showed it successfully blocked several cancer types. We're talking melanoma, breast, prostate, and pancreatic cancer from spreading through those collagen layers. Those microscopic machetes we mentioned earlier, they just aren't sharp enough to cut through these newly reinforced walls.
Section 4. Clinical studies and outcomes. The evidence.
Now, these aren't just wild theories. We're looking at real measurable patient improvements across some very different holistic clinical approaches. While the Pauling-Rath 15-year study proved we can prevent metastasis by protecting collagen, Dr. Eugene Fine over at the Albert Einstein School of Medicine achieved partial remission and disease stabilization by totally changing the metabolic environment with a 4-week ketogenic diet trial. Add to that Dr. Anderson's IV glutathione nutrition protocol, which actually led to over a 90% recovery of nerve function in post-radiation patients. These are distinct approaches, sure, but they all focus on changing that underlying cellular environment to yield some truly remarkable results.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material regarding patient evaluations from around 1982. It says, "What I noticed over the years was a disappearance of all my symptoms, the return of energy, endurance, and interest. Honestly, beyond just shrinking a tumor on a scan, the real-world impact of effectively utilizing these metabolic and structural therapies is giving patients their actual quality of life back."
Section 5. Complementary cellular defense strategies. The whole body ecosystem.
Let's compare these two mechanisms for a second. On one side, we have structure. The Rath protocol fortifies physical barriers, like collagen, to physically trap the cancer. On the other side, we have metabolism. Ketogenic therapy, which produces ketone bodies like beta-hydroxybutyrate, actively lowers inflammation and removes the blood glucose that cancer loves to use as fuel. It effectively takes the foot right off the accelerator of cancer growth. You can really see how building a structural wall and, at the same time, starving the tumor's metabolic engine can work brilliantly hand in hand.
If we map out the broader landscape of this defense ecosystem, there are multiple therapies out there that alter the cellular environment. We've got the Ravicii therapy using lipids, the Budwig protocol, which focuses on dietary shifts and detox, fasting and restricted ketogenic diets that actually sensitize cancer cells to traditional treatments like radiation, and NADH supplementation, which supports cellular energy and has been linked to durable remissions.
Take Dr. Ravicii's lipid therapy, for example. He looked at the disease landscape totally differently. He actually used specific fats, what he called refractoriness lipids, to address a quadruple pathological condition. Essentially, he was training the body to resist harmful invaders, actively balancing out the body's internal energy and repair systems. It's just another absolutely fascinating lens on metabolic and systemic defense.
Section 6. Redefining the healing environment. The future of oncology.
So, the ultimate takeaway from all these sources? True cellular defense is definitely not a single magic bullet. It's a synergistic orchestration. It's all about supporting immunity, actively lowering inflammation through metabolic therapies, and really reinforcing the physical, structural barriers of our cells.
I want to leave you with this final, really powerful thought. If we can rebuild the cellular fortress walls with things like the Rath protocol, and if we can simultaneously remove the metabolic fuel that feeds these rogue cells, could we transform cancer from an unstoppable force into a manageable condition? It's a question that challenges the entire paradigm of healing, and it leaves us incredibly eager to see exactly where the future of metabolic therapy takes us next.